Hello everyone, welcome along to a brand new episode here on SandyBay Farms, where you'll notice straight away that money has plummeted greatly. Well, not greatly, but enough. The reason for that is I have went ahead and purchased a sprayer. Now, I did have to lower the price of this because sprayers are so expensive, I actually couldn't afford really any of them, and I wanted a trailed sprayer rather than a mounted one. So I did adjust the price of that slightly, but not too much. I made it to somewhat, at least in my mind, what is a more realistic price. When you wouldn't expect to pay, you know, £250,000 for a sprayer, surely, especially one that's not particularly big, as far as I know. I can't say I've spent much time around sprayers. Don't really know what classifies as excessively big, but. We went for one 24-meter spray width, takes herbicide and liquid fertilizer, and it is a trailed one. We've got narrow tyres on it, and I paid $22,500 for it, which I think is, I don't know, an acceptable amount. I'm assuming so. If that's wrong, let me know in the comments below. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bit of a chance here. I'm going to spray herbicide on our fields and hope that that doesn't kill off our crops. I know it'll kill the weeds, but I'm really hoping it doesn't kill off the crops. It's the I got caught speeding by 4 kilometers an hour, which is 1 mile an hour ish. £13 speeding ticket. There's the first one of the series. That's unfortunate. But we will be making many trips down to the store over the course of this in-game year, because we've still got a lot of equipment still to buy. But this is the one I went for. We'll have a bit of a closer look at it in a second. PT was on. Caruli spraying machine. I'll show you in the store. It's probably the best way to deal with it. It's this one. It's the Caruli Nicholas Stilla 460, 28-meter spraying width. Yeah, like I said, I did change the amount we actually paid for it. I'm going to take it back up to the farm, and I'll see you guys up there. Okay guys, got a herbicide filled into the sprayer now. It's a bit unstable actually. I don't know if that was because it's empty. Oh, no, it's not because it's empty. It's just, it's a bit unstable. We might end up replacing this with something very similar. But we'll try and get use out of it just now. See, when I go around corners, it's just, it wobbles, and I don't know why. But we're going to head back down to field number 4, I believe it was, and get some herbicide sprayed in that. Can't believe I got caught speeding. It's just terrible. You'll see by the thumbnail for this episode, I actually went to a good bit of effort to get that thumbnail. Oh, see? Well. Yeah, so we'll pretend that no flip ever happened, but I think what we'll do is we'll use the herbicide that's in here, and then we'll definitely exchange this for another machine. I mean, even just going along the road is bounced up and down. So yeah, we'll get another one as similar as we can. Hopefully with the actually spraying, it's a bit more on the stable side. Maybe it's because the narrow wheels are on it, I have no idea, but something's definitely not right with this particular mod. Yeah, it's just, even at low speed it's like, try and tip. Alright, let's turn it on. We're going to spray the majority of the field in the hopes that it will not grow any more weeds. I don't really know how weeds work. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and spray all over fields. It appears to be doing nothing to the weeds. Does it work instantly? No idea. I mean, it is herbicide that's in here. Maybe it takes a little while, I don't know. We'll run around the field and we'll... I'll do a jump cut. I'll do this field. We'll exchange this machine for something else and money will stay the same. And I'll bring you guys back once once I've got a bit of progress made on this. This is not something I really intended on doing anyway, so I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay guys, I just got finished herbiciding field 12 and the replacement sprayer is this Amazon UX5200. Yeah, we just did it as sort of like a stray swap. So money is exactly the same as it was, we'll just pretend we never had the other one because that was just a mistake. But I'm pretty sure that it was actually spreading herbicide, it was just way too unstable. Off camera, I ended up flipping it just by turning around in the field. So this one is much more stable. It's how you'd expect it to work. So obviously there's something not quite right with the centre of gravity on the other one. I'm sure if that was fixed it would be an ideal mod. Now the downside is this sprayer is 4 meters wider. It's the closest one I could get that was trailered. Well, it's close enough. And I do like the Amazon colour scheme, the orange and the green. It works very well together. But I'm conscious of the fact that field 12 hasn't germinated yet. I'm not sure if it's supposed to or not. But also while I was spraying that field I noticed that we are plenty warm enough to plant the rye. But I'm not sure as to whether or not we're actually going to do that in this episode or not. We might leave that until the next episode. I might take another gamble on that one and save it until the next episode. Because I do want to cultivate field 1. Because there's weeds in it, I presume. There's weeds everywhere. I also come to the conclusion that weeds won't instantly die, because that would be very unhealthy for the land if the herbicide was strong enough to instantly kill the weeds. It'd be like spreading acid on the ground. But we'll just have to keep an eye on it. I know nothing about how the weed system works in this game. But I do want to cultivate field 1 because it's still sitting there in the stage of lime. I don't actually see any weeds in it, but I'm just going to assume that there is weeds. On my luck, there won't be, but I'm going to cultivate it anyway because that seems like the right thing to do. Break the soil up a little bit. So we'll be using the Fendt for that with the dual wheels. I've not decided which field I want to cultivate yet, whether it's effectively the cow field or field 21. I think I'll do field 21 because it is a separate field. What I'll do for now is I'll just block these doors here. I'll go and jump over into the lovely Fendt. I do like this Fendt. The wheels are a bit wide on it, but that's fine. I need to go and pick up our cultivator. Now I was speaking to someone about the dual wheel system, like setup that I have on this, and it's one of these ones where it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not necessarily right either. It apparently depends on the consistency of the soil, which that seems like it's a good answer, to be honest. Let's get out of cab. This thing, I think it looks epic. This thing's warped. That's probably not been good for it. So like I said, I'm going to put in a track somewhere across here, and probably from around here across, something along these lines. Probably won't look as good as this particular track here, but I'll do my best. I keep forgetting I have to effectively put the tractor in gear. It's usually good to put the tractor in gear, but this is the field I'm thinking will make a good arable field. I know that there's the troughs there, but we'll just we'll go around them, leave a bit of space at them, type thing, because basically we're going to need another arable field. This is where everything turns all white. I think that dynamic dirt mod is awesome. So we're going to go ahead and make a start on this. I actually don't see any weeds in this field. Let's check the map. I also want to see if field 12 is actually... It's planted. It's not failed. So that's a good thing. Field 1, does it have any weeds in it? No, it doesn't. A few spots that need lime. A few, good few spots that need ploughing, but it's close enough. Oh yeah. Everything covered in white. Does look a little bit strange, but it makes a degree of sense for the tractor's wheels to be white. I don't know if the cultivator would necessarily be white. I think it would still be dirty. Or like normal dirt colour, I think. But that's just my opinion. But we're down to £43,000. I'm actually getting kind of worried about our finances. We don't have an awful lot of money, and like I said, we still need to get mowers, tedders, windrowers, a feeder for the cows, bale shredder, baler, probably a loading wagon. We've got so much to buy and absolutely no money to buy any of it. For 43,000, I don't even think that would get us a decent baler. Probably we'll get more with that, which is something. It's probably the next one of the next purchases we get. I'm not sure if you're able to turn with a cultivator. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode. I think to a degree you can, but probably not as much as I turn with it. Well, I can imagine doing exactly what I did there. Very unwise. But I think you know what's coming next. It's definitely time for a time lapse. We'll get this field cultivated. I will end up spraying herbicide on this field just as a precaution, because I think that's definitely a good idea. I'm not sure if you're supposed to spray it before you plant crops are after, I don't know. We'll find out together. But I will see you after the time lapse. Hopefully you enjoy it. Okay guys, that was a bit of a longer time lapse, and I also did this side of the field off camera as well. You can see around these poles where I went back in with the landscaping paintbrush and added a bit more grass because I got a little bit too close to them, but yeah, that's not something to worry about. And I was thinking we could just use the cultivator to create a path across. If I unfold the cultivator here, and sort of lower it down, we could just cultivating a path across, and then eventually grass will grow into it. We'll have to probably run over it with the likes of a roller and things like that as well, but this is about as wide as a path would be, in my opinion anyway. Just take it right up to there. And then if we turn around, because it's like a bit of a curve on it up towards the farmhouse. Lower that back down there. And I just want to take off sort of this edge. Down to about there. Now, I was thinking about it while I was doing that. This is supposed to be a more realistic series, but I've completely missed a whole side of realism that I've not even thought about until, well, now, actually. I've been cultivating and ploughing and things, and it's not been on allowed great fields, which it should have been, because the last time I checked there isn't magic grass that is impervious to the cultivator and the plough. I'm quite happy with that. I want to leave the other field there, what is effectively the cow field, as it is, because we are going to need some grassland. And for narrative purposes, what I'll do is I'm not going to gravel that path because that doesn't seem like a good idea. But I was going to say I'll put grass seed on it, but that doesn't make any sense because that would just turn it back to the way it was. Got to lower it, which makes no sense because that's actually on the ground, which it shouldn't be. What I'll do is, between episodes, eventually, I'm not going to say what will happen before the next episode, but that path should turn a bit more path-like and rather than just dirt. I mean, it will take a little while, so I have to compress it down a bit, things like that, to get it a bit more sturdy. I'm quite happy with that. We've still got plenty of grass area, and we now have another arable field, which is always good, but it does mean that we have two fields that we are going to need to plant in the next day. Or, I say plant, we're going to need to seed them. What I'll do for the time being is I will just park this tractor here, and we're going to jump into the class again and get both of those fields spread with herbicide. As to how well I can get herbicide between those poles, that's another matter. But we'll get as much of it done as we can, because of course in the next episode we are on the last day of spring, so it's really our last opportunity to plant anything. In fact, if I check this, yeah, we really need to plant tomorrow. So that's something we're definitely going to have to consider. We should actually be building up a good bit of slurry as well. Now this is a complete guess. I'm not sure if you put herbicide on before or after you seed. We've got some fields that have herbicide on them after, and some before. These ones will be before, obviously. As for the trough, just kind of went around it. I mean, I could go into Giants Editor and remove it, but I don't really want to. If I'm being completely honest, I will leave it there. Well, this is actually making a difference to the colour of the ground, which it wasn't doing in the other fields, so maybe I have to run over those other fields again after there's crop in the ground. I have no idea. Oh, well, we're spreading weeds at the side of the road. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Or we're not getting paid for it though, so that's probably not a good thing. but we've got, I realised we actually got significantly more herbicide than we actually need. Far too much. So we've got enough herbicide to last us probably. That's not what I wanted to do. Probably to last us next year as well, and then we'll probably still have some left over because I think this is only just two and a bit of the IBCs that I got, and I ended up getting 6. Of course, we do still have quite a bit to do, but not as much as I got. So this episode has been filled with many mistakes, but it wouldn't be a Ghosty episode if it wasn't. So I'll do this side sort of on camera, and I'll do the other side off, because that's just how I want to work it. I think these fields will be classified as a first stage fertilizer on them as well, because we cultivated in the grass, and obviously there's no lime put on it and they've not been ploughed, so the yield isn't going to be as high as it could be. But let's see what happens to these weeds here. I see these ones instantly die, so I'm probably going to have to go over the other fields again once the crop actually germinates, I think. If you guys know more about how the weed system works in this game, please jump down into the comments and let me know, because I'm a complete novice with it and I think I'm making multiple mistakes. So let me know if what I'm doing is right, wrong. Like I said, I have no idea how it works. Never played with weeds before. So we'll just get this last little bit here, and then we'll do a bit of a jump cut where I spread the bottom half of this field, which I'm not sure if you classify that as a separate field or not. And of course, our massive field 1, which, given that this field already has weeds in it, I wouldn't be surprised if field 1 has them. Yeah, see, they require ploughing and lime. I'm actually saying that no, there are no weeds in it, but field 4 is getting quite a lot, and field 12, the weeds are spreading. The blight of the weeds. But I'll get on with this, and I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay guys, just doing what should be the final pass to the field here with the herbicide. I did have to go and refill it, and I didn't manage to get between all the poles as much as I'd like to, so there is the potential for some weeds to grow between the poles, but I mean that's just the way of it. This machine is way too big and there is collisions on those poles, so it's never going to work out the way I particularly want it to. Somehow we're up to £45,000. I don't know if that's gone up or down. I honestly can't remember. Spent a long time doing things off camera on this episode, but that's enough of these two fields done. So this thing definitely needs a wash. Both of these are in dire need of a wash because I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that you don't want to leave something like herbicide on your machines. I imagine it's not going to be particularly good for them. And on top of that, if I take these machines in a field with crop in it and the machines are covered in herbicide, it's not going to be good for the crops. That's one thing I do know. So we'll get these washed, and quite happy with the amount of work we've got done today. It's more than we'd usually do in a single episode, but it needed to be done. So we've got our pressure washer on a pallet here. We will start with the sprayer because why not? I am a fan of the sprayer. It's worked out much better than I anticipated. And then we'll give the tractor a good clean as well. Ready for, well, not that we're going to be using this tractor tomorrow, but we will have to wash the seeder ready to use it again tomorrow as well, because it's very dirty. And again, just an assumption here, but it's not even really an assumption, it's just logic would state if the machine is filthy, something like a seeder that has the little pipes and things on it, then I'd imagine it's not going to work particularly well. It's not going to distribute the seed evenly, I'd imagine. Because I mean, look at it. Very dirty. I would make the generalized logical assumption that's not going to work as efficiently as it could do. But I'm going to call this episode here for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed parts of it. Some parts have been very frustrating. Not a big fan of constantly colliding with things with the sprayer, and getting a speeding ticket was a bit on the unfortunate side, but that's just the way of it. So hopefully you have enjoyed this episode, and if you have, you can hit that like button. It would be very much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you can of course subscribe. That would also be very appreciated. You can also ring the bell icon. That way you get notified of all future uploads and live streams on this channel. Another way to stay up to date with all things Ghosty is you can head over to my Discord channel. The link to that is in the description. I do have my own Discord server, and you're more than welcome to jump on there. And you can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter name is on screen just now. Just head over to Twitter, search for that name, and you will find me. Drop me a follow if you do head over there. It'd be very much appreciated. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.